I thought I have a little chat with you where I take you through the latest developments regarding Formula Circus. In case you didn't know what Formula Circus is, in this info card on the top right you'll find a link to the official announcement video. For the first time I wanted to give you an insight into my current daily routine. Currently it looks like we are missing a real Unreal Engine expert. We are still beginners, therefore I'm trying to become one myself, and there's a comprehensive tutorial series of almost 100 videos by a German YouTuber. I invest about 2 to 3 hours a day in it, trying to learn more and more that way. By the way, if you have expertise in 3D modeling or with Unreal Engine 5, you are invited to help with the project. Just write that down in the comments below. Back to the point, I have thought this tutorial series, I'm currently learning the Unreal Engine 5 and trying to become a point of contact for other team members. When I finish my tutorials for the day, I'll look into organizing matters for Formula Circus, check emails, check my Patreon, assign tasks to other people, or look at them, manage the website, look for further options, see what's on the Unreal Engine market, etc. The remaining time of my 9-hour working day is spent working on the game. In the last few days I was creating a 3D model of the engine for the 2004 to 2008 cars, and the last 2 hours of working time I invested in the 89-207 mod. I significantly reduced the workload towards December since I almost finished with the mod. The Formula 3000 is also done and I'm only missing the 06 season. I'm not starting that currently as Gia Brown recently made a 06 mod and discovered a new UV mapping for the cars, and skinning the 06 Renault is really challenging. He's planning to post a tutorial, so I'm currently waiting for that. But back to Formula Circus, I wanted to talk fundamentally about the implementation of the damage model today. Currently I'm trying in the Unreal Engine to let a cube fall off a moving object when it collides with a wall. It's actually a pretty simple thing to do, but since I'm still a beginner in Unreal Engine I have some problems, but I'm getting better at it every day. The reason we want the cube to fall off is an idea I had in connection with the damage model, and how we can create an innovative damage model without excessive calculation, etc. There are also prefigurable damage models for the Unreal Engine for other cars, and you could also take inspiration from BeamNG. However, that wasn't an option because the cars deform too much. The problem with this is, if you have ever seen a Formula car crash, you know that carbon doesn't deform but absorbs the impact energy by breaking and splittering. For this reason I want to compose the 3D model of the car from many smaller parts that, through programming with Blueprint in Unreal Engine, say the following. When hit with velocity, that's the impact speed, 80, then the part should break. When hit with velocity 120, the part should not break but be destroyed. There's a very performance-saving function for Unreal Engine. This way you can visually destroy or splitter the small parts that calculated. This way the part is still visible for a few moments before it can slowly despawn. Many games use this, so it's not super innovative to shatter the object. But let's focus on the large part that have absorbed enough energy to break of the car but not be destroyed completely. In this way I thought how we can integrate track marshals into the game. The programming for the whole thing is quite simple here. We simply have an object that spawns when it's registered. That is a certain number of loose objects on the track. That are the parts of the car that fall off the car and not destroyed. The object moves to the other objects, picks up one object or more, moves away from the objects and then makes it disappear. No heavy programming. The spawning object then replaces a static low poly track marshal on the side, low poly for performance, and then spawning an object that is an animated track marshal who gets a lifting animation to pick up the part. For the track marshal we only need walk, lift and jump animations. The walking animation that Unreal Engine has by default is sufficient enough for this. So you only need a jump animation for jumping over a barrier and a pickup animation. This way, with very little effort, you can have a very realistic damage model and real track marshals created who have to collect the parts on the track. You can, of course, also do this with damaged cars. If a crane is needed, the game first checks under which surface is the car. Oh, it's gravel? Cool, we need a crane. And whatever a crane is spawned. And this way, towing, pushing the car away, etc. can also be done easily. However, this involves some work, mainly modeling work. While the first object you saw in the introduction video consists of about half of an old CTTP generic 2006 car that is free to use, the new one should be completely self-created. The old car had some problems. For one, it was created for Air Factor and in 2008 or so, which means the resolution of the 3D mesh is not really the standard of a modern game for Unreal Engine 5. The second point is that the car is empty under the hood, suitable for a game like Air Factor or Assetto Corsa etc, but not for us. If you have a damaged model and a part flies off and you can see through to the other side of the car, that's not very useful. Therefore, the interior of the car must also be made. At least the engine and the interior of the side pods. The rest can be hidden with some textures. This way, objects can break off from the car and there is no big empty space underneath. Thanks to optimization possibles of the Unreal Engine, the cars do not compose much more performance than in F1 2020 or similar games. All quite simple programming via the blueprints gives the game, as I already said, extremely much depth in this way. Now, an idea I've been working on for the tire barrier for a long time. I've already said that there are quite a good physics for car deformations. Originally, I watched to have several physics models in the game which can be asynced to implement objects in the track editor by you. Asphalt concrete physics for everything static on the track, grass physics, gravel physics, non-physics and deformation physics. Here, however, the Unreal Engine unfortunately reached its limits. There are ways to create deformable objects, but they are limited, and none of them are really physically simulated. In short, the Unreal Engines cannot give an object a naturally deformability through a physics settings. Any deformation in the Unreal Engine is generated through so-called bones in the 3D model. These bones must be individually adjusted for each 3D object, so they are not an option for the track editor. But we can make tire barriers this way. And if you combine that with the car damage physics I already mentioned, you can not only have deforming tire barriers where you can stuck in, but initially you can also create the tire barrier from several objects instead of merging it into one. This way, in very strong accidents, the tires can be thrown out of the object and now lie on the track, which can also be cleared away by track marshals. I hope I could give you a little insight into the game. Now a few details about frequently asked questions from the last video. Question number 1 was whatever it is possible to support a project through crowdfunding, and that was also an often idea within the team. The problem I see here is we believe we can create the game, but we cannot guarantee it 100%. And if in the end, the problem I see here is we think we can create the game, we cannot guarantee it 100%. And if in the end, let's say 30,000 euros end up in the crowdfunding, we use the money for the game and it never comes out for whatever reason, it will surely be not well received, especially given what's currently going on in the crowdfunding sector in the gaming industry. But write your opinion in the comments. Crowdfunding, yes or no? And if yes, why? And if no, why also? Question number 2 that was often asked is whatever this or that is in the game. We have an idea sector in the Discord where we organize ourselves, but we now have the basic concept of the game and only add ideas that can be implemented within a few lines of code. We all know the big show behind other ambitious projects like No Man's Sky or similar game. The problem is always that they take on too much. Say too much yes in interview, we could get this and this is a good idea, but in the end you have to limit yourself and say this goes into the game and this won't be in there at release. For example, the scenario mode or multiplayer will not be available at release. Yes, I also want both game modes in the game, but as I said, you have to draw the line somewhere. Currently you have a detail, you can walk around the paddock in the menu of your career save file at the moment. In the career you have the opportunity to drive yourself or start your own team like the mighty mode in F1 2020. Then there's the normal GP mode and possibly a time trial or test mode, because we also need that ourselves for the game. Finally, the track editor is a big project, but it's an essential for a license-free product like this. Those are the modes available at release, and that's where the limit is set. Question number 3. Will the game have manager mode, or can you drive yourself? And if you can drive yourself, will it be a game like Art of Rally? I can quickly answer that driving in our game should be as similar as possible to F1 2020, since we have a lot of experience there. So not hardcore simulation, but not also an arcade racer. The handling should be simcade. That's all for today. I'm sorry there wasn't much graphical content in the video, but the time is better spent on the development of the game than on a pretty video. For the last video, that was important because it was an official announcement, but expect more videos in the style of this one here in the future. For the last video, that was important because it was the official announcement of the game, but expect more videos in the style of this video in the future. Then I can also keep you updated on the development. If you want more information about the game, visit our website and subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss anything in the future.